Hey, what's up, you guys? It's Bloody Jacob here, readjusting my webcam, and here to bring you a review, a general season sort of finale thoughts video on Season 1 of Daredevil on Netflix. And yeah, really, it took me a while to watch the whole season, not because of my lack of interest or because I didn't think too highly of it, because, as you guys know, I was dealing with a lot of stuff, moving and other personal issues I had going on, and it was just kind of hard for me in general to sit down at my computer and just watch a single thing, because that's my attention span, because I'm only 19 years old and such. But I did finally get through Season 1, and well, what an incredible series. I'm just going to say straight up, honestly, the show blew me away completely. It met my expectations, then exceeded them quite a few times over. And I know it's kind of weird comparing shows sometimes, but everyone is going to war over, Daredevil or the Flash, Daredevil or Arrow. And I haven't seen too much of Arrow, but I've seen a couple handfuls of episodes of the Flash, and I will say that, in my opinion, for my personal taste, Daredevil is a much better show. Well, that's just me. I believe you can have fun with all these shows for different reasons. But, it's also weird to compare them, like I said, because they're two very different tones. Daredevil is more dark and gritty and more realistic and stuff like that. Despite Matt Murdock being blind and having heightened senses, every other aspect of it is very realistic and very real to our world and reality. Whereas shows like The Flash and Arrow feel a little bit more unbelievable, a little bit more over the top, and honestly, Flash and Arrow just came across kind of cheesy to me in certain parts, especially The Flash. Could be because it's on the CW, so I have to focus more on the teen love and stuff like that. I love the Vampire Diaries, though, so there's nothing against the CW. But, I just find Daredevil to be a better show, or at least more suited to my personal tastes. But like I said, I'm being fair about it. You can enjoy each show for what it is. I like Daredevil more than Gotham as well, but I still like to watch Gotham when it comes on, too. But yeah, I will say that for me personally, Daredevil is probably the greatest live-action comic book series I've ever seen. Out of all the shows we've gotten based on comic books and superheroes over the years, and I think it's just the best of them. And I also think it's better than most movies they put out nowadays. Again, it's weird to compare like Daredevil to the Avengers and stuff like that, but because they're obviously very different animals. But for me personally, Daredevil just exceeds every single other live-action adaptation I've seen of anything else before. And that's a huge statement, I know, but I don't think I'm alone with it, and I don't think I'm wrong, because everyone has their opinion, and they're entitled to it. Some people need to get that through their heads. But, yeah, so I'm not going to get too specific, because it's 13 one-hour episodes, nearly one-hour episodes. And there's just a lot that goes on, but I did want to touch on a few general things throughout the season. I just want to say the writing on the show is fantastic. The writing in general, the dialogue for the characters is just really well done. All the actors are really well casted. Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock, Daredevil, a very good pick. It seems like we're finding all the best actors that are British nowadays. You know what I mean? Because we have Andrew Lincoln on The Walking Dead, he's British. Now we have Charlie Cox, he's British, and he's a fantastic Matt Murdock. Not that there's anything wrong with British actors, it's just a little bit ironic how some of the best of them lately are all British, But Charlie Cox does a great job. Now, me personally, I actually kind of liked the Ben Affleck movie back in 2003. But, of course, I know it had its issues, and I believe this to be a better adaptation to the comic books. And Charlie Cox just shows every side to the character so exceptionally well. He has a charm as Matt Murdock, and, the conviction to be, a real, true, honest lawyer, the very few of those we have nowadays. At the same time, we see his vulnerability, the pain, and the journey he's been through as a character at the same time. And his transformation and evolution as Daredevil in season 1 is just something it's a marvel at, pun intended, because it's just really well done. And it all feels really natural throughout the season as he goes along with him. As he goes along and we go with him. And also, another standout from the series has to be Vincent. I can't pronounce his name right. But Vincent D'Onofrio? I don't know. I can't pronounce his name correctly, I'm sorry. But the actor who plays the Kingpin, or Wilson Fisk in the series, is also also gives a very, very impressive performance. I did like Michael Clarke Duncan as a character in the movie, but like I said, this is a more true adaptation of the character, I believe. And he's a big guy on the show, but yet he's realistic too. He's not like overly done like in the 90s animated series, the 90s animated Spider-Man series. He still looks like a real guy, and he has the Kingpin voice that we sort of recognize from the cartoon, but at the same time, it still sounds natural, it still sounds real, you know what I mean? And they do a great job even developing the Kingpin this season. It's always great when you can give your villain, your antagonist, some depth, and they do that successfully with Wilson this season. Some of the best... There's a lot of best stuff in this season, but some of the best stuff includes the flashbacks we get to Wilson Fisk's childhood, seeing how abusive his father was and how pushed he was into doing things and to please his father. And we see how he finally stepped up and killed his father as he was abusing his mother. So I thought seeing that was all really well done, really helped to establish who Kingpin is as a character. And at the same time, it makes us sympathize with him. But at the same time, we also see what a brutal and violent man he can be himself. Because a part of the Kingpin is that he can be kind of childish, sort of impulsive, and that can be his downfall at times. And we see a little bit of that in season 1 as well, as we see that, like I said, he acts on impulse, like when he kills the Russian out of anger, when he has feelings for Vanessa throughout the season. He takes out a lot of those feelings on others, or acts really before thinking everything through. And I love how they teased the reveal of Wilson Fisk throughout the season, throughout the early part of the season. Like, we see his right-hand man, why am I forgetting his name right now? Wesley, yeah, who is also played pretty well. He was pretty creepy, yet really intelligent guy. And we see him going around doing all of Kingpin's work for him. But then we finally see the Kingpin himself show up. I think it's around episode 4, episode 5, or something like that. And he decapitates a guy with a car door, which is a very brutal scene, more brutal than expected on a Marvel TV series. But again, this world they've created with Daredevil feels very realistic, very gritty, very dark. And I just love the tone and atmosphere throughout the whole show, and that decapitation helped to do that. So that was all really good. I also really like Deborah Ann Woll as Karen Page. It's good to see her character become more and more important as the season went on. Of course, the actress does really well with portraying emotions and showing different expressions and things like that. So I like her a lot. And I like the chemistry between Charlie Cox, her, and Elden Henson as Foggy Nelson. They all play off of each other really well, and I like how they grow closer together. Especially Karen and Foggy, but also Karen and Matt as well. And Elden Henson as Foggy Nelson is just awesome, really. I wasn't sure about him at first. I found him to be a little bit annoying originally. But as it went on, I actually got to care for him quite a bit as he was more and more established and more was kind of found out about what he's been through as well. And of course you end up really cherishing the friendship he and Matt have. And that is put to the test as later in the season, Foggy finally finds out that the man in the mask that's been running around, who he thought was a terrorist, is actually Matt Murdock. And that whole reveal later in the season just changed everything for the show. And it really put Foggy and Matt's friendship to the test. And just the emotion shown from both actors and the flashbacks we got to their days in college when they first met each other, I just thought that was all really, really well done. Really helped for you to care about what happens between the two of them. I like how Foggy sort of grows and learns and matures and more as it goes, as he finally comes to accept what Matt's doing, at least some of it. And he believes in that he has the better intentions than he originally thought and things like that. So I thought that was all really good. Rosario Dawson as Claire was also pretty good. Her character wasn't around too much, but of course she's known as like the night nurse. And she helps out Matt a few times throughout the season. And apparently, hopefully she'll appear in things like Luke Cage and Iron Fist once they do those shows. Because she could be a good tether to each one of them before the Defenders miniseries, or maybe she could appear in the Defenders, I don't know. But she's pretty good, and she also plays kind of like a romantic love interest for Matt that doesn't last overly long because of what Matt chooses to do, how he's trying to save this city on his own. And Claire doesn't agree with that, so she ends up kind of going their separate ways. But I still liked her a lot. I liked seeing when Matt saved her. And that's another very good portion of the show that I just got reminded myself about was the fight scenes in the show are like very, very well done. They combine like really entertaining action like that you'd expect from like a comic book series, but at the same time they keep the fighting like looking really real and realistic, as I've said a lot throughout this video. Like you can tell Matt Murdock is really well trained in fighting, but at the same time he shows like the stamina of it all and like all the energy it takes out of him to move the way he does. And it's probably the most realistic fighting I've seen in any comic book, movie, or show. And I just think it's really awesome how they did it. And of course everyone's talking about that hallway fight scene we got early in the season. The one they did in one shot and one take. Just incredible seeing all those guys fighting Daredevil back and forth. And seeing Matt slowly get more and more tired as it went on, but still fighting, still getting himself back up. And I also like the flashbacks to his father and what happened with him in the first couple episodes too. Really inspiring. Got really good one fight early on too. And the final fight between Fisk and Daredevil at the end is just really, really intense and so satisfying. And I also liked Ben Urich in the show as well, who is played by Vondie Curtis-Hall. I was surprised when he was killed off by Fisk, though. I mean, it makes sense since he and Karen were digging throughout the season. But I really liked how he was portrayed. He felt like a really honest, one of the few honest reporters and things like that. And his relationship with his boss, and eventually questioning his boss that he may be in Fisk's payroll. We find out that was one of the secretaries working there at the end. And unfortunately, he is eventually killed by Fisk himself. He is strangled, and we see his wife has a disease, and he's visiting her, which is really sad and tragic. And the funeral we have for Ben Urich is just really upsetting too, and it really, again, helps to pull us back down and see this world for what it is. It's very dark, very gloomy, a lot more real compared to like what the Avengers does and stuff like that. But I still liked Ben Urich in this quite a bit. I was a little bit surprised when he was killed off because occasionally the character has other ties to like Spider-Man and things like that as well. The Daily Bugle and things like that. Unless this is in the Virgin's past, I don't know. But it's still good to see an appearance from him even though he was killed. And I also liked, I can't pronounce her name for them, but the actress who played Vanessa, of course, Fisk's love interest. I thought she came off very intelligent. She showed her the intelligence really well, and it also gave us another angle of Kingpin and made us have another set of feelings for him besides the antagonistic stuff, but still fearing him and as a menace. You know what I mean? They did a really good balance of that with the character throughout the season. And, Fisk proposes to her as he is taken away at the end, and she accepts, but she flies off as he couldn't make it back to the helipad in time. So we could see her again. We might not, though, depending on how much they use Kingpin in Season 2 or onwards. I'm not sure. But, and then Daredevil's costume on the show, I should address that, too. We see a certain version of comic books, you'll see he wears a similar black outfit in the early days. So I like that they did that on the show as well. I wasn't really too into that version at first, but and then as the series went on, I got more and more used to him looking like that. And I saw it fit really well, and I also like the slow build up to him eventually making that first real Daredevil outfit, as he is called the Devil of Hell's Kitchen. Then he was eventually given the nickname Daredevil. I like that as well, and of course how he got the actor who played Spelter on season 6 of Dexter. It was good to see him being the one that Matt Murdock got to make his armor for him, as he needed more protection, obviously, after he fought the Japanese guy who had the chain. He was dressed in the Red Ninja outfit and things like that. And so I really like the armor Matt Murdock eventually put on to really become Daredevil for the first time. Like I said, that final fight between him and Fisk at the end was just incredible, really, really, really intense as Fisk escaped from the armored car. Really awesome scene. Really well. The show is really well shot in general. I love the visuals. I love the look of the city. And that one-on-one fight between Fisk and Matt at the end is just really intense, back and forth. Of course, Daredevil has more of an advantage than the first time, since he's a little bit more healed than he was. Because the first time Fisk beat him up, that was right after that fight with the Red Ninja and things like that. But this time Daredevil has more of an advantage, so he gets the upper hand over Fisk, but Fisk still proves a challenge because of his brute strength. And I really like the dialogue that's written between them in that final fight. Everything feels really real, and it makes sense. And Fisk making the point that, does he really think that one person in a silly costume can change anything or make anything different? Probably not really, but Matt Murdock is going to try to his very last, and his very last drop. I tried to be cool saying that, but Matt Murdock will try until his dying breath, and no matter what. And I also love the scenes with the priest, showing some of the struggle of Matt Murdock as a person and what he's doing. I like those as well. And we got a good ending to the season. Of course, Matt and Foggy being divided, but sort of coming back together at the end. I like seeing them, being friendly to each other again. Fisk being locked up, at least for now. I wonder if the show is going to have more than 2 seasons, because I know they're doing Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist, and then the Defenders, but they're also doing Season 2 of Daredevil. I'd love to see Daredevil go on for a few seasons and actually have a full run as a series by itself. I'd love that. I think it's definitely good enough for it. And if it does, I'm sure we'll see Fisk return to some capacity, even if it is in the Defenders or something like that, or a future season of Daredevil. I'd love that too. And I'm definitely looking forward to Season 2 of Daredevil with John Bernthal coming as the Punisher. Can't wait to see how their 2 different ideologies collide. And, they'll eventually kind of work together at the end and kind of go their separate ways, I think. And I also can't wait to see Elektra as well. I like the reference to her during the college days flashback with Foggy and Matt, the Greek girl he is with in college, of course, being Elektra. So we'll see her very soon, I think, as well as Bullseye, whoever the cast is him, I'm not sure. But I also like the little Avengers references they put out through the series, like how Wesley being so surprised that one guy with his, beat off all those men with his bare hands, and he doesn't even have a magic hammer. And, there are, headlines that referred to, the 2008 Hulk movie. And then there's another headline that referred to the battle in New York in the first Avengers. So I like those too. That was kind of fun. Well, not, overdoing it either. So, there's my general review for Daredevil Season 1, as well as my thoughts on the finale. And, so a very, very, very good show. The best comic book adaptation, the best superhero-related live-action series or movie I've ever seen in my life. And I just can't wait to see what they do with Season 2 next year with The Punisher coming in. Very much, very, very, very excited for that. And it'd be awesome if you could see Charlie Cox cameo as Matt Murdock in Daredevil in one of the Avengers movies. That'd be awesome. I'd totally geek out. But yeah, so if you guys enjoyed this video, you should definitely check out the show if you haven't. But if you haven't and watched this video, you're just heavily spoiled, and I apologize, but the spoiler tag is in the title. So you did it at your own risk, remember. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, I'll be doing a video a little bit later talking about Tom Holland being cast as Spider-Man. I'll give you my thoughts on that a little bit later, though. And yeah, catch you guys next time, and peace.